This movie has been called a return to your roots.
I don't know. I think when they say that, they just mean that I'm doing a comedy again, as opposed to, an action comedy or a romantic comedy or, trying to, horror comedy, trying to blend elements. This is just a return to what I do, I guess. They do that with all actors, If a person has had a big box office success and, they'll say, oh, he needs a hit or she needs a hit. And if they have one that's a hit, they call it their comeback, It's kind of weird. Now, you don't ignore it, you hear it, but you don't trip off it. It's like, for me, for you to have a comeback, you have to be gone. You have to not be working, and I've been working all this time. And I don't go by box office, I go by, you're working or you're not working.
Professor Klump is a great character.
Well, it would take about 5-10 minutes just to find yourself in that suit. Because you got these rubber hands, you have to take these rubber hands off. Take all the clothes off, then you gotta unsnap this big fat stomach thing. It takes a minute. And you drink as little as possible because you didn't want to have to keep going to the bathroom. And you couldn't really eat in that thing because if you ate, it would rip the makeup from your mouth, so you were kind of hungry all day, or just eating like stuff that you could chew like this and a sip of water while I was sweating.
Growing up being a fan of Eddie Murphy's and then having an opportunity to work with him, it felt like if I was a ball player, I was working with Michael Jordan. I was playing with Michael Jordan,
So you're Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, no doubt.
We knew each other back in New York, but never had a chance to work together. I naturally never thought I would get a chance to work with Eddie. And when the opportunity came along, I was like, this is a no-brainer, let's go.
The last time you did stand-up, when was that? And do you miss that whole side of your career?
Yeah, maybe about 10 years ago. Wow. I'm coming up on 10 years. And I miss it a lot. I didn't start missing it until about 3-4 years ago. Because there was a period when I used to do stand-up. I was always on the road, and I used to do like a tour. Every year I was out touring. It was like a big part of my life. Because it got to a point, where you had to accumulate some experiences because I felt like I was, just talking about the same things all the time. You're 25 years old. And all I'd ever done was, gone to the disco and that kind of stuff and hung out, got some girls or something, After a while, that was on my stand-up. It was like, man, but those discos or something else. And the girls were great, It was like I had to experience something else, A lot's gone on since then. Since then, I'm married and I'm a father now and, and I'm curious to see what it would be, what would come out when I did stand-up again. When you had if this movie was like a successful movie, I would probably go to the clubs and start doing my stand-up again. Because you don't want to go out, on a flop, and be out there trying to tell jokes and people sitting there going, well, your movie wasn't he's standing there with a microphone. Good night.
My working relationship with Eddie is something that I feel is like one of the honors of my life. He's such a professional. He's so talented.
He's always been a grandmaster in this craft as far as I'm concerned.
You know what's amazing? In the audience, I noticed that they were all waiting for that Eddie Murphy humor. People watching the movie were waiting for those moments when you would inject that classic humor that everybody loves. Do you feel the pressure that you have to sort of bring that out in yourself and in your character for every film?
No, because I do it naturally, so it's not like I'm bringing it out. I feel pressured to just be who I am naturally. I think I would feel pressure if I was in the situation where they said, you can't be funny now. You just have to always be, and just trust me that this scene is gonna work without, the whole movie's gonna work without comedy. When I see the movie, after I see the movie put all together, then I know if the movie, not just for me, I know if the movie's gonna perform well at the box office. You can't tell how much it's gonna make, but you can, and it's just from being a moviegoer. I love making movies, and I'm in the business of making films. So I go see everything, anything that comes out, you go see, and when you see a lot of pictures, after a while you can be objective. Even with watching your own stuff, you can look at it and go, oh, this isn't gonna work. That's how Beverly Hills Cop 3, even though people are going, it's gonna be great, you can go, man, I'm in trouble. And
then to work with Eddie is just like a dream I could not have dreamt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just to be in that proximity and riffing and just behind the scenes fun. It was great.
And when career highs and lows are documented in your life, how do you deal with that?
Well, that's just part of it, you
Yeah.
know. You know, I think I would, if I were the only person who goes through what actors and actresses and entertainers go through, you know, then I might be like, why are they all on me? But there's always a who's hot and who's not list, and who's the cutest and who's the greatest, and people go on and off both lists and all that. That's just part of show business, you know. That's part of the business that we're in. You know, I never got to the point to where I couldn't work, you know, so I never got scared or anything. I was always able to work, even if a movie didn't make a lot of money or as much money as they wanted it to make. I've always been able to get the next job. And I've never done a movie where the studio lost money on my picture. So I've done movies that weren't big hits, but I never, like the studio was like, we lost our shirt, you know.
Yeah. But having a family and taking that path in your life, does that change at all the approach you take to this whole business?
It changes your approach to life, you know. It just your priorities change, you know, and the things that were important to you when you were single or in your early 20s aren't as important to you now. And just because your life is changing personally, that has an effect on everything, on your work and everything, you know. So yeah, it does ground you. It does, because one of the things that happens when, especially with young entertainers, that's why you're always reading about some young person going through something in the paper. You read about, oh wow, why are these people going crazy? They got everything. It's just fame and money and all those things are a lot of things. You got a lot to deal with when you're young, you know. So you got to go through it, you know. And at getting older and getting married and all those, you know, I was really young when I got in this. I'm 35 years old. I'm not an old man, but you know, I'm old enough to know the difference between right and wrong. That's what it is. As you get older, you start making better choices.
He's a hero, you know, of ours. And to watch him work was just like, you know, that much more like, okay, this is why he is that hero. This is why he became Eddie Murphy.
He dissolves into these people. He sort of seems possessed by these energies, and it really is, you just sort of sit back and watch it unfold. It's it's hard to articulate the artistry and the mastery and the majesty of it all.
If a script comes along that I feel good about, you know, it looks like it's something we can have fun doing, and it's something that I haven't done before, you know, it's some new area, you know, then I get excited about it. I don't really think like, is this a good time and what I should be doing at this stage of my career, given the amount of time I don't even think like that. I started out, my first gig was on Saturday Night Live, you know, and that show back then was a really edgy show, you know, it was before cable and all that stuff, you know, so I started out doing that type of stuff, you know. I like having a talent like somebody like Martin. Having someone as talented as Martin on the set with you takes the onus off you, definitely. It's not the big weight of the movie isn't on your shoulders, you know. Definitely makes it easier to work when you got somebody that you respect and that you think is funny doing a scene with you, without a doubt.
No doubt. I mean, Daddy's the man. So hey, I think you take risks within its limitation with respect to, you know, the other artists, so he knows where you're going in order to make the scene work. You know,
I just feel really blessed, fortunate, you know, and lucky, because and I'm acutely aware that this is not normal. That people aren't usually around this long, and people don't get to work with people that they worked with 40 years ago. These are, you know, really cool blessings.
Your son Eric is dating Martin Lawrence's daughter Jasmine, and Martin said that if they were to get married, he's gonna make you pay for the wedding. So I gotta ask, what do you have to say about that?
No. That's not how it goes. Because my daughter just got married, and I had to pay. I really had to pay, and you have to do the same, Martin. Don't try to switch it up. Don't try to change do no Hollywood switch. You paying for the wedding. If it goes down, Martin is paying. And the wedding better be wonderful.